The year is 1777. The American Revolution is a fragile dream, hanging by a thread. In the quiet farmlands of Putnam County, New York, the war feels distant, a rumble on the horizon. But on the night of April 26th, that rumble will become a roar, and a 16-year-old girl will ride into a legend forged in darkness and defiance. This is the story of Sybil Ludington, the forgotten patriot whose midnight ride would rival that of even Paul Revere. Our story begins in the town of Danbury, Connecticut, a crucial supply depot for the Continental Army. It held food, tents, medicine, and munitions, the lifeblood of George Washington's forces. To the British, led by General William Tryon, Danbury was a prize too valuable to ignore. Under the cover of dusk, 2,000 British soldiers landed, marched inland, and began their devastating assault. They overwhelmed the small local guard, and soon, the night sky was stained orange with the glow of burning storehouses. The Continental Army's precious supplies were turning to ash. News of the attack traveled fast, carried by a lone, exhausted messenger who finally reached the home of Colonel Henry Ludington. The colonel was the commander of the 7th Dutchess County Militia, a regiment of some 400 men scattered across miles of rural countryside. The message was dire: Danbury is burning. The militia must be mustered immediately to intercept the British before they escape back to their ships. But there was a problem. The messenger was too tired to ride any further, and every available man was needed for the fight. Who could possibly ride through the treacherous night to sound the alarm? From the shadows of the Ludington home, a figure stepped forward. It was Sybil, the colonel's eldest daughter. Just 16 years old, she was a skilled horsewoman who knew every path and shortcut in the county better than anyone. She looked at her father, her expression unwavering, and volunteered for the impossible task. The colonel hesitated. The journey was 40 miles, through a countryside teeming with British loyalists and lawless highwaymen known as skinners. It was a cold, rainy night, and the roads were little more than muddy tracks. To send his daughter into that darkness was a father's worst nightmare. But the fate of the militia, and perhaps the war effort itself, hung in the balance. He agreed. Sybil wasted no time. She saddled her trusted horse, Star, a powerful steed she had raised from a foal. Grabbing a long stick to bang on doors and fend off any attackers, she set off into the pitch-black, rain-soaked night. Her mission was simple, yet monumental: ride through the villages of Carmel, Mahopac, and Stormville, banging on every door, shouting the alarm, and gathering her father's scattered troops. Her journey began. The rain fell in relentless, icy sheets, turning the path into a slippery mire. Star's hooves pounded a frantic rhythm against the mud, the sound swallowed by the wind and the downpour. Sybil's first stop was the village of Carmel. She rode to the first farmhouse, her heart pounding in her chest, and struck the heavy wooden door with a stick. "The British are burning Danbury," she cried out, her voice clear and strong above the storm. "Muster at Ludington's." A light appeared in the window, a door creaked open, and a sleepy voice acknowledged the call. One down. Hundreds to go. She rode on, a lone figure against the immense, hostile darkness. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig sent a jolt of fear through her. She was not just battling the elements, she was evading an unseen enemy. Loyalists were everywhere, and being captured meant certain failure for the mission and an unknown, terrible fate for herself. At one point, she heard hoofbeats behind her and spurred Star into a gallop, veering off the main road and into the dense woods. She held her breath, listening as the riders passed, their voices muffled by the rain. They were loyalists, searching for patriots. Once they were gone, she guided Star back onto the path, her resolve hardened. Her ride continued through Mahopac, where the few lights of the village were dark and silent. She repeated her call, her voice growing hoarse but never losing its urgency. "The British are burning Danbury. Muster at Ludington's." She carried on toward Kent Cliffs and Farmers' Mills, the miles stretching into an eternity. Fatigue began to set in, a deep ache in her bones, but the image of the burning warehouses in Danbury spurred her onward. She was riding for her home, for her father, for the cause of liberty. She knocked on doors of strangers, her frantic message waking entire households. Men grabbed their muskets, kissed their families goodbye, and prepared to march. Sybil didn't wait to see them leave. She had to keep moving. The most dangerous part of her journey was the stretch of road notorious for outlaws. These were the Skinners, ruthless bandits who preyed on travelers, loyal to no one but themselves. As Sybil navigated a dark forest path, a figure suddenly stepped out from behind a tree, blocking her way. He demanded to know who she was and where she was going. Thinking fast, Sybil's voice took on a tone of authority she didn't feel. She declared she was on a secret mission for the commander. Her confidence, combined with the wild look in her eyes and the powerful horse beneath her, seemed to unnerve the outlaw. He hesitated just long enough for Sybil to dig her heels into Star's sides, and the horse lunged forward, charging past the stunned man and back into the relative safety of the open road. After hours of riding, her body screaming with exhaustion and her voice nearly gone, Sybil finally saw the familiar shape of her own home on the horizon. The first rays of dawn were breaking through the clouds. She had done it. She had completed the 40-mile circuit. As she rode into the yard, she saw a sight that made every terrifying moment worthwhile. Nearly all 400 of her father's militiamen were assembled, armed and ready to march. They had answered the call. Her call. Colonel Ludington's men arrived too late to save Danbury, but they were not too late to fight. They joined forces with Continental troops and engaged General Traianus' retreating army at the Battle of Ridgefield. The British were harassed all the way back to their ships, suffering significant casualties. The militia's timely arrival, made possible by Sybil, had turned a devastating loss into a strategic, morale-boosting confrontation for the Americans. Sybil Ludington collapsed from exhaustion, but her heroic deed did not go unnoticed. General George Washington himself traveled to the Ludington home to personally thank the young girl for her bravery and service to the revolutionary cause. Yet, for nearly a century, her story remained a quiet piece of local folklore, overshadowed by the more famous ride of Paul Revere. Unlike Revere, who was captured, Sybil completed her mission. She rode twice as far, through a more dangerous landscape, and successfully rallied the forces needed for a fight. Today, Sybil Ludington is remembered as a true hero of the American Revolution. Her 40-mile ride stands as a testament to the extraordinary courage of ordinary people caught in the tide of history. She was not a soldier or a statesman. She was a 16-year-old girl who, on one dark and stormy night, answered the call of duty without hesitation. Her legacy is not just in the history books, but in the spirit of anyone who dares to ride into the darkness to fight for what they believe in. Her midnight ride reminds us that heroes can be found in the most unlikely of places, and that sometimes the fate of a nation can rest on the shoulders of a single, determined individual on a horse named Star. Thank you for watching. If you were inspired by Sybil's story, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tales of forgotten heroes from history.